Inside Track, the official podcast of World Athletics.
Hey, welcome to Inside Track from World Athletics, Paris 2024. I am Sonia Richards-Ross.
And I'm Greg Rutherford. Welcome back to our podcast.
Yeah.
It's been unbelievably good fun. This is the go-to podcast for all of the interesting facts and all of the behind-the-scenes bits and bobs of what's going on here in Paris 24.
It's been really good. And we've had some amazing guests. We've had the president of World Athletics. We've had some big boobs on the show. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that means you haven't been watching, and you should. It's that good. And today we have former Olympic champion in the 400-meter hurdles. We have Sally Gunnell and Helen and Greg Duplantis are joining us, the parents of Mondo Duplantis. I cannot wait to talk to them.
I know, it's an absolute couple of legends. I'm really excited. It's a really different angle again, isn't it, as well? We've got the parents' side of things.
Yeah.
We've got a former legend of an event very close to yours, I guess. But dare I say, harder?
No, you don't.
I'm really excited about all of it. It's going to be a great day. It's a bit harder.
Yeah, it's from someone who never ran the 400. Anyway, we also have our Ask Me Anything section that's been going really well. I mean, my DM is blowing up with incredible questions. So we'll get a couple more in today, and we have 8 more days of events to follow here. So please check us out wherever you listen to your podcast.
If you're listening to the podcast or watching it on YouTube, remember there are full video versions of the show and loads more exclusive athletics content on the World Athletics website. So if you go to worldathletics.org/inside track, listen to all of our previous episodes and get all of the inside scoops that we're bringing. It's brilliant, eh?
Yeah, so good, so good. Don't just listen, also look at us, because I've been looking fly every day. If I could just add that.
You just talk about yourself there. There was no mention of me there.
Greg, we're looking pretty good too. We almost have been like literally matching almost every day. Like today we had the t-shirt vibe on. Like we've been kind of like
basically trousers. And actually mine is slightly higher as well. They don't go all the way down.
Yeah, and then look at our shoes are almost the same too. It's like we're twins.
We are twinning. We
it's
have
like
nailed
we are
this.
twinning.
But how's your day been so far? It's been an interesting one, right?
It's been a little bit hectic this morning, a lot going on. You know, I'm very, very fortunate, Greg. I've been here doing a lot of really fun things. Of course, number one, being here with you.
Of course,
on the World Athletic Podcast. But I also am playing double, kind of triple duties here. I'm here with NBC calling the track meet. So this morning was the first morning session for me because we had the women's 200 and the 400-meter hurdles. So, you know, they can't run those races without my great voice on it. So basically doing that. And then guess what else fun I've been doing? So I'm here also with Nike. They have a think tank where they bring together the best female athletes across the world. And so yesterday, Serena Williams was there with us, talking and pouring into us. And so, I mean, I am just, and then my family's here. I'm just a busy bee.
It's a lot going on. I tell you what, it's always nice, isn't it? Someone like Serena who like transcends sport.
Yeah.
So it's not just that she's a tennis player or an athlete. She is literally just like a known person around the world. Very similar to yourself, I know.
Yeah,
but it's
nowhere near, not in the same stratosphere, but thank you.
It is amazing, isn't it?
It's
and
amazing.
It's so good as well. And this is what the Olympics brings, right?
Yeah.
All of these athletes, and of course I appreciate tennis is part of the Olympic Games.
Yeah, of course.
All of these athletes come in and having these great chats, I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I got a question for you.
Oh, go on.
What's been your highlight so far? We've had, 2 days on the track so far? What's your highlight? It better be the same. Because there's only one right answer to this question. What's the highlight so far coming out of Paris?
I mean, the women's 100's pretty crazy, right?
That's not it.
Oh, what
Try again.
Oh.
Femke Bol, 40.
Oh, of course. Sorry.
I'm kicking you out. You gotta go. You gotta go. You're no longer welcome on the Inside Track pod.
I was gonna get onto it.
You was getting there. Okay.
Because she's different.
She's different. She is a beast.
It's like we all sort of just, it's her world and we're just living in it at the moment.
Seriously.
Watching her, and look, from a US standpoint, I feel like because she's pulled back the US in the way that she did, I feel like, I don't know, the US is going to be really hurt by that. It's like, in relay terms, the US is literally the dominant force pretty much forever.
Yeah.
And for her to do what she did, it was as if literally just somebody put a treadmill under her and she just ran with it. Went, it was insane.
That's what I love so much about the mixed relay is that it has brought parity to the event, right? Because when you have 4 women and 4 men from the countries, it's hard sometimes to have the depth to compete with Team USA. But now you put the mixed relay out there where you just need 2 and 2, and it has really changed the game. Yeah. And of course, the women's 100 was phenomenal. Yeah. Julian Alfred winning the first medal for St. Lucia is a part of history that we'll never forget. We were here to see that.
Absolutely.
And of course, Sha'Carri winning the silver, her first Olympics, and 2 Americans on the podium. Love, love, love. But watching Femke Bol come from, and the thing about Femke is that it never looks like she's running that fast.
No.
It looks like she's just, out there on a casual run in 47.93 to win gold for her team. And what was really great too was the American anchor leg ran 49.2. She's 19 years old. Yeah. She's in college. That's a great run.
That's insane.
But when greatness hits the track, you just gotta bow down.
Yeah, you gotta bow down.
Yeah,
it
was epic.
That was something special. So I was building towards that. I just thought I'd start
I
with
believe
the
you.
women's 100 first.
I believe you.
Now, today has obviously been a slightly difficult one for you because you have been so incredibly busy. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I had to go solo earlier on today.
I'm sad I missed that.
No, I feel bad as well because it definitely doesn't have... I enjoy doing this with you. It's really good fun.
Yeah, me too.
It will be the best episode of the entire pod.
Where's my shy, humble Brit? Where did he go? I'm already rubbing off on you too much. It's only day, 3 or 4?
Well, I did say to you, I'm going to desperately try and embrace achievements.
Embrace your greatness.
So I was the best. But what I need you...
Introduce the guest already and get over here.
No,
Come on.
I need you to listen to what I did with Sally because you have to listen to at least the beginning of it before we carry on.
I'm going to listen to the
day.
whole thing like the fans do. I can't wait.
Before our next guests get here, you have to listen to this intro. Okay. So we're going to start it now. My next guest is an absolute British legend. I have to note that I'm on my own today. For anybody who's not watching this on YouTube, Sanya is a bit busy, so I'm flying solo. But I'm joined by Sally Gunnell. She is Olympic, World, Commonwealth, European champion. One of the famous 5 we might mention as after talking to Daley Thompson. Thank you very, very much for joining us today. How's everything going? How are you enjoying Paris?
Oh, it's amazing. You just sort of, part of you goes, oh, shall I go? Shall I not? And you get out here and it's just incredible. It's the stadium is amazing. And I was a little bit jealous, I must admit. There was a little bit of me going, oh, I'd like to be out there on that purple track. But the rest of it is just, everything's flowing, buzzing. We can get everywhere. I've got my boys out here. We're having a right old hoot.
We have just seen your 3 very strapping lads as well.
Yes, they're not boys anymore. They're men.
They are big grown men, and I can confirm that after shaking their hands. Now, before we start on the athletics and your career and everything else, the team here have been very good at digging something out, and they've said we have to mention this. Now, me and you did a show recently, and we discussed this, but we had discussed this before. And I wonder how much you remember of the story, because not many are going to know it. I once named a pet after you.
Yes.
When I was about 9 or 10. Do you remember what pet that was?
I've got a feeling it was a guinea pig.
No,
was it a guinea pig?
It wasn't a guinea pig. It's worse.
A hamster.
It's worse.
No. Oh gosh, I don't know. Snake, rat.
It was a rat. A couple of team didn't know, and they were like, "You got to say it." Yeah. I mean, in my household, Sally was one of the biggest names in sport. So I loved and cherished my rats. So that was why it happened. That was why
the case?
They used to walk around, have them on our shoulders. I know that's going to freak out a lot of people, but it was definitely an honour.
Did you have a Linford, the rat, as well?
No, Erica, after Eric Cantona. So they're all girls, but I really liked Eric Cantona as well.
I'm honoured.
Sally and
Thank you.
well, there you are. There you
story.
are. But back to here, and you're sort of saying you're at the stadium and you were sort of thoroughly enjoying it and everything else. You come from an event that is known as one of the hardest events ever, probably is the hardest event in athletics. And you're sort of seeing the likes of Sydney and Femke and everybody else. I mean, first of all, what attracted you to that event? Because it's brutal. And what do you think of what's going on at the moment?
Well, I just think you never choose the 400 hurdles. It's like you sort of, I went from heptathlon to 100 hurdles, which I loved, but obviously I wasn't good enough.
Right.
And then you sort of roll into that 400 hurdle. So I think lots of people come that way because they can't quite make it in the event that they love or have started with. And then it's like, okay, you've chosen me. So here we go. And it's brutal because if you get it wrong, trying to just get over those things and not fall and whatever. But the bit I loved is I just loved the technical side of it. I mean, it's a bit like the long jump, I just love that you've got this sort of like, you've got to be as smooth and as efficient, but you've got to be, technically brilliant at what you do as well. So, and I'm just blown away where Sydney and Femke have taken the event because it sort of stood still for a few years. Yeah. Nothing really happened and you were like, come on. And then obviously Sydney came along and it's incredible. And that's what the 400 hurdles does. It's like you can knock off half a second just like that. And we could well see that out here because, it's like, I always describe it as a bit like a battery, and you've got to keep it as level as you can and efficient, and you've got to be running as fast. And if you push too hard, then you go up and you use that battery out. And it's the person that can conserve their energy enough and run at that top speed to get to that, the last 2 hurdles and then off that last hurdle. And I think we're going to see something phenomenal out here because both girls are incredible shape. I mean, we just watched Venka in that relay last night with a 47.9 leg.
It was insane, that comeback, wasn't it?
It's just mad,
Absolutely unreal.
And so she's got it all in there. They're going to be pushing each other. I think with Sydney, we haven't seen the best of her, obviously, this year. So it is going to be tough, but that world record is going to be out the window. It's going again, and I think it's going to be the race of the championships, but I would say that.
I think you might be right as well. They're talking about the track being about 2% quicker as well, apparently.
Yes.
So it's definitely on the cards to do that.
Like it.
Now, we look at, the 4 hurdles women's is sort of becoming now the event of track and field. And I feel like similar when you won in 92, that was a really similar experience for you. You literally became, and you already were obviously on the rise, but you were a household name. So for people like Sydney and Femke, that their lives have changed. Can you sort of explain what that would have been like? Because this is obviously before social media was a big thing as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you couldn't go anywhere without people wanting to stop you, talk to you, and be
It was just
involved.
the weirdest thing. I sort of feel like those two are big names now, aren't they, already?
Yeah.
And they've built that up. Mine just literally changed overnight because I just think people always thought I don't know, she was good, but is she tough enough? She's, the girl next door, all of these sorts of things. And up against, Sandra Farmer-Patrick, who was incredible and, and pushed me. And I think just crossing that line in Barcelona was, it was life changing in that I just remember going home and all these kids in my garden knocking on the window and I tried to go shopping the next day to get some food and people were going, you can't be eating that. And, it was just everybody knew who you were. And I guess back then, we did literally, GB had 5 gold medalists and I was only woman. So I suppose you just became that household name and it was just phenomenal. It took months for it to sink in because I kept saying, how did I do that? Why did I do that? All of those things. But in the end, it was like, go girl, you deserve it. And I think really it was sort of like the 2 years of, the Worlds the following year, breaking that world record. After that, you really established yourself as, up there. Was I ever as big as the likes of Linford? You're never going to be as big as him.
You definitely were. As somebody from the UK, you definitely were.
No, well, and, he was in that golden event and stuff. So, but it was lovely to be up there and share that special time with those guys because they looked after me.
It was again, it's like the golden period of athletics as well, isn't it? It was something that was on the TV all the time. It was back page news. It interrupted the news, everything else. So it really changed everything. Going past that, and we sort of look at then the distance between you breaking a world record through to then the end of your career, because it's something that with myself, I have a similar thing of all of a sudden everything seemed to be going great and then injury setting, right?
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden, and yours, it was Achilles, if I remember, is that right?
Yes, my low point, and it's quite interesting how you sort of erase it from your mind almost, was being carried off the track in 96, trying to defend your title in Atlanta. And I didn't want to finish like that. And it's really hard to know. I mean, you'll know, and I know lots of people are, because physically I wanted to carry on, but your body, and that year, and then I tried to do the Worlds, and I ended up, just pulling a calf muscle, and that was it. I'd had enough by that point. So I tried 2 years of coming back. And I called my own press conference, didn't tell my coach, didn't tell my husband, didn't tell any of my team. And they were like, what's she going to say? And I just announced my retirement there and then at the end of a World Championships. And I just knew it was the right thing. It was like the biggest relief.
Yeah.
And I was ready. I think really in my mind, I was sort of processing it for a couple of years, and I'd started putting, things in place, like working for the BBC and bits and pieces. And I think once you start going down that line, then you know that's right, and you're ready for it almost.
It's an important part, isn't it, for athletes to think about as well, is the next stage. I think it's something that's not done enough.
No.
There's so many athletes that we see that they're coming towards the end of their career and that's it. They're sort of completely lost, have absolutely no idea what to do. Whereas actually being a bit thoughtful with the process of going forward is something that more need to think about, I think.
I think it is. I think the thing now is that, where the sport has come with, sports science and medicine and, just we would have been picked up better with our injuries and things like that, that's what makes you carry on. And that's why people have this longevity now, that they can carry on for so long. And I do think they should make the most of it. Have family, have kids, come back, do all that. I think it's incredible that that's where the sport has gone. And I think it's brilliant. But I think you do have to have some stuff in place. And I don't know. I fell pregnant, straight away with Finley. And I think that really helped to sort of close a gap, but I had some, great work opportunities. So I was excited about going skiing, going go-karting.
I can confirm. That was exactly the same for me. Going skiing I was well excited about doing.
Because you can't do that, and it's like, so I just loved that idea. But I think in your head, you're never going to have those highs again. And I think a lot of people really try to search for those. And I think, you have to realise you're never going to have those highs and appreciate what you have and slowly move forward. And I was chatting to Helen Glover, the rower last night, who's obviously got to make a big decision after all her gold medals. And it is tough because she said, I can't fill that void. Yeah. And she's thinking about going another 4 years. And I was like, oof. Yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough one. With children and everything else, it is a really tough one.
But really tough.
I think it's a really important point that you make as well about enjoying every moment.
Yeah.
Something I definitely didn't do in my career. And I try and say to the young athletes that I mentor at times, enjoy those highs. Like, there's not many occasions. And actually, funny enough, I just saw Morgan Lake, who was in the high jump, come away disappointed and then saying that she just wishes literally hours after she'd enjoyed being in that stadium a bit more.
I didn't enjoy it.
No.
I was so scared of failure. I was like, I've got on to the Worlds the next year. I can't celebrate. And I really regret that. And I think this first week of the Games, I've really appreciated, Adam Peaty in the swimming, seeing Andy Murray in the tennis. I look like for the first time, these guys have gone around and taken absolutely everything in. And I just think, that's what we need to do more of. And that's probably one of my biggest regrets, that I didn't really do that. Yeah.
Well, back to the athletics and what's going on at the moment. You are obviously here in a capacity for, you mentioned your husband, John, of course.
Yes.
And there is an athlete who will be racing very soon. Yeah. That obviously you all have a very close relationship, shall we say. I find it really interesting when obviously your husband's coaching somebody at their level. What's your involvement to the point? Like, does he draw on you a lot to sort of help with that? Because of course he was an athlete as well. Competed for England, was 800 if I remember.
It was 800. Yeah.
And so, which helps with Gemma, I guess. But with yourself, does he use your expertise a lot? In that case,
it's been really interesting because when I did retire, going from that, he was the one that missed it, not me.
Really, that's interesting.
He really missed, because he was the backbone. He trained with me every single day, pushed me across the line, and he missed that sort of like schedule and that sort of like the program of your day, and then that's where he got into coaching, and he's just developed from there. And you know what he has? Because I often say, I'm not sure I'd make an amazing coach because I haven't got the patience. He has got so much patience and understanding, and he's just brilliant with all these, different personalities that are with a group and trying to manage them, and how many lows there are and a few highs and all of that. And he's just brilliant at that. So for me, there's two roles really. One is to support him because, he's away a lot and, they have to train at altitude. So I have to have that understanding. So I'm the one often back home and supporting the family, keeping everybody going and stuff. So that's the sort of role. But my role within, him and Gemma is much more around, the mental side of it. Because as you know, it's a massive part of it. Mm-hmm. You could be the most talented athlete out there. You can be at the top of your game. But if you haven't got somebody supporting you or that mental side of it, and it's a massive part and you need that. So that's really where I sort of come in. So, and I think it's really nice that Gemma can ring talk to me, and I do go on training camps. I've spoken to her today.
It's a nice plus side, still going on the training camps.
Yes,
That's why I miss the training camps, heading out to South Africa, America and everything else. Yeah,
I'm there, and the problem is
I'm in the wrong job.
You takes you back, and before I knew it, I was off trying to look good around the track. And I'm like, stop, girl, stop now.
There's a comeback in there somewhere.
It's not good. No, it's not. Does not look good. But it's just really important, I think, for her to have somebody that's been there.
Yeah, of course.
Talking about, first round nerves and staying positive and all of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I think we're a great little team.
Absolutely.
And I'm helping him to stay as calm as well. And
that must be tough.
Understanding, what goes on and the highs and lows.
Absolutely.
And,
women's
looking
eights,
ahead.
Really quickly. I mean, obviously from a British standpoint,
Yeah.
of course, this goes to everybody who watches athletics around the world. But from a British standpoint at the moment, the women's eight is absolutely out of this world. When we look at obviously the top lists for this year, that race in London was just absolutely out of this world. And of course, you're close to Gemma. I mean, how is she feeling? I watched obviously qualify quite relatively comfortable with everything else. I mean, how is she feeling about? And what's that mindset like when you've got Keely, you've got Gemma, you've got basically, it seems every female in the UK can run ridiculously fast 800 metre times. I mean, what's that like?
We have. I think it's really exciting where that 800's gone, and in the men's as well. I mean, it's like, wow, what we're dealing with here. And we're going in, with the two fastest girls with Keely and Gemma, but it means nothing, as you know. And there's a lot of people, and that's what I love about the Olympics. You look at the 100 metres last night, there's people in the women's that you never even heard of in every event. And that's what the Olympics does. So, that's what I need to tell her. And that's what I am telling her. You've got to respect everybody out there. And you've got to take each round at a time. You've got to do what you need to do. And it's tough. And it is tough. And, nobody's hangs a medal around your neck of any colour. You've got to go out there and earn it, and you've got to respect that. And I think both of the girls do realise that. It's going to be exciting, but it's going to be a tough. And I can see from those heats, there's a lot of people that are in shape, and, it's going to be where you are on that last, on the home straight almost.
Thank you very much for that, Sally. It was absolutely brilliant. Right, we were, if my co-host was here, who is actually 5 minutes away, but we don't have time to wait for her, we were going to do Guess the Athlete, where basically we battle it out to try and guess an athlete first off of certain questions. But we can't do that. So instead, we're going to do Predict the Podium. And I'm saying women's eights, give us your top three, gold, silver, bronze. Who's it going to be?
I really want to say Gemma at the top, but I just think Keely, then Gemma. So I'm going to go
Very
1,
good.
2.
British 1, 2. I like that.
It's got to be done. And then I'm going to go Mary Mora from Kenya.
I don't think many can disagree with that. Okay. They are some absolutely, solid pitches there. We'll go with that. Well, thank you very much. That was absolutely brilliant. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Been great.
And enjoy the rest of your time here.
I can't wait. It's just there's going to be so many great races.
It really is. So I'll see you probably at the track.
See you in there.
A rat? You named your rats after Sally. No, friend. No more stories from you, no more words, because listen, some stories are better left unsaid and untold.
I loved my rats. They were like...
Nobody loves rats. And I'm sure Sally did not like being named after a rat either. I apologize on behalf of my co-host here. You've learned from that, though.
Yeah. It's funny, when I say it, when I think it, I think, isn't that a nice thing? You named one of your darling pets
one of your darling rats.
After one, like a British legend of the sport that you eventually competed in.
It's a disgrace.
No, it didn't go down as well.
No,
your reaction, I think, is what 99.9% of people's reaction.
I wish you'd have told me first, because I would have saved you on that one. All right, my friend, get over here. We got two more great guests coming in. Helena and Greg are joining us.
Let's go. Right,
Let's do it.
I mean,
yay!
Still got it.
All right, I'm super excited for this one. We have Helena and Greg Duplantis. They are the parents of the world's greatest pole vaulter. ever. And as a parent myself now, I am just so excited to talk to you guys and kind of dig into what it's like for you guys to be here. Give it up for the Mr. and Mrs. Duplantis in the house. Yeah. Welcome here.
Thank you.
While you are here out at the Olympic Games, how do you guys like to be like thought of for everybody else? Is it your sort of Mondo's parents? Is it the former athletes that you are, coaches? I mean, how do you perceive yourselves when you're at the games?
I feel like more like a parent, nervous, kind of.
That's what
I'm
I was
here
going to
with
ask.
him as a parent.
Yeah.
But then, again, when I'm at the track, then that's right, I'm the coach too.
Yeah, that's a lot. I was going to ask you that because obviously Mondo has been so dominant. And for the rest of us, it's like, oh, we're just watching like what we anticipate is going to happen again. Another win, another world record. Do you still get nervous watching him compete?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
I mean, yesterday was the qualifying. It was
It was crazy.
terrible, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, And I mean, I'm totally confident in him.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, my stomach's turning.
Yeah, and you know, to be very honest and to be very fair, in a discipline where it's not always about how prepared you are, where things can go wrong with the best athletes in the world, there's so many factors that you guys have to consider. What do you think makes Mondo so solid? Like, why has it been that no matter what happens, he's been able to go through the rounds and still able to execute in a final? What makes him so special?
I always remember when Frankie Dick was talking about that you have to be able to control the uncontrollable. Like, it seems like it doesn't matter what happened to him as far as losing the poles or the warm-up is not perfect, or like one time at the Junior World Championship, he stepped in a hole and warm up and rolled his ankle. It's like, it's very hard to rattle him. Yeah. It's not going to mess up his performance, even though it's not.
I think because his life is chaotic in general with everything
Maybe
around.
so.
We have a big family and lots of friends and everything. Yeah, we were in Cali, Colombia. It was the Youth World Championships in 2015. It was his first big competition. And we go to the practice arena. So we're with Team Sweden. And it's just chaos. I mean, it's just all of the athletes are at this facility. They're not really prepared for this.
Yeah.
And the Swedes are just, their just eyes are like this. And they're just, what? And Mondo just goes, he walks out there. And at this time, you know, he was very untrained. And he puts his spikes on and he starts pole vaulting. He just takes off down the runway and just takes a jump.
Wow.
And I go, he doesn't warm up or anything.
But interesting, I guess, at that
chills.
point though as well with Mondo, I mean, he was already through the age groups and everything else, just sort of becoming quite a dominant force within the world of pole vault. How does that sort of happen with you guys? Because we were discussing as well about getting your children involved in sports and things, and then your children actually doing the sport that you yourself have done. What's that conversation like? I mean, was you really like keen for him to do the same event, or was there a different process? It was just him. He's like, I've got to do this.
Well, as you know, if you have children, you can't get them to do anything.
Exactly.
That's right.
Can't
Yeah, all
even
three of
clean
mine,
up
none
a
of them,
room,
yeah.
much less go pole vaulting.
Well, they're going to do what they want to do.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
all of I introduced all of them to pole vault.
Yeah.
And they were all talented. And Mondo just completely just took to it. He just loved it from the first time he did it.
Wow.
When he was 4 years old, loved it. He'd jump in the living room with a broomstick.
Wow.
And I had my middle son, Antoine. He didn't like it at all. Loved baseball. Like, I want to play baseball. I don't like this.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get a baseball or bat out of his hand. And Mondo was like that with pole vault from the start. It wasn't us. It was him.
But I think so too, having two older brothers, like they're 3 and 6 years older than him. He always wanted to do what they did. So like when his oldest brother was totally doing really well in baseball, I mean, he had to tag along to all the baseball tournaments.
Right.
He was so into baseball. And then, so I think that helps too. And then he always was included in all the little games that they had in the neighborhood. And I mean, he was always the youngest. And I mean, from an early age, he was very competitive. He was just born that way. And I mean, it didn't matter if he was the tiniest little thing, and he didn't care. He wanted to win.
I got 2 questions for you, Mom, because the first question I want to ask you is, can you tell us a story about Mondo growing up that we don't know? Like something quirky, something that when he watches, he might be like, Mom.
We love a bit of that. We'll clip that up as well. So,
I need that. So please give me something juicy.
How about when the lady called the police?
Somebody call the police on
Mondo,
Mondo?
what have you been up to, mate?
Tell us.
Mondo was about, I don't know, give me the age.
2-ish. He was still in diapers.
Hang on, he's getting arrested at 2.
In diapers, and we are Helene and I are in a kitchen, and it opens up to a carport, and then out in the yard, in the front yard, and the door was open. And he slips out, and he's up maybe like 460 meters in a tree, in his diapers. Then this lady walks by, and she calls the police and says, "There's a baby out in the tree."
Oh my goodness!
And they come to the house, and
Yeah, but there was another point to it too, that why she called the police, because he had snuck out and was like 40 degrees Fahrenheit
Oh,
outside.
yeah,
freezing
forgot about
outside.
that
So
part.
she always accused me for
Yeah.
pretty much not a
No, she was
being
kind of crazy, the
inappropriate
woman.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you replied with,
And
well,
then-
he's got Scandinavian blood in him. He'll be
Yeah,
fine.
he's going to be a war record pole vaulter. He needs to get used to heights. What are you talking about? He's just preparing for the future. Good foresight. That's crazy. I know,
Yeah.
Mom, you were like,
Yeah, so she, I think actually, then we found out who it was, because like where we live is not a big town.
Yeah, yeah.
And her brother is a cop. And then,
And she's
like,
a
I was
little
changing
natty.
his diaper, and then I see a cop passing by. I'm like, Greg, I had to call him, like, a cop is coming to my
oh my goodness. I can't imagine how scary that was.
So it was pole vault or career criminal then. That's what we're saying. With him.
One of them. Comes in handy, though. Being able to jump.
Listen, I had another question, but that completely like knocked out of my head because I was not thinking we were going to end up with a police story.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
oh my
something
goodness.
I think is fascinating as well. I mean, what makes just a child an athlete to that level? I think this is always the big thing. We have so many great athletes in the world, but he is so dominant. He's literally the greatest ever in his event. What have you done? What is the environment, whatever else, that has created such a good athlete?
I think his mental makeup is a huge part of his success.
But he did have a unique and environment where he had two older brothers, both of them very good athletes. His oldest brother, Andreas, he's 6 years older. And Mondo is going out and, like she said, trying to play baseball with him. 6 years old, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And Mondo thinks he can compete with him. And we luckily had some big area. We had a lady live next door, had an entire huge lot open, and she let the kids play. And we had a neighborhood full of children, and they would come over and they'd play all the time, just like the old days.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, they were
yeah.
outside all day, every day, playing baseball, tag,
Yeah.
all kind of games.
Good old days.
Soccer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he grew up in that environment, extremely competitive, like
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, like probably a ragball game with his older brother is more intense than the Olympics. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I remember the question I wanted to ask you. What went into the decision for Mondo to compete for Sweden? Obviously, he was born in America, and you guys, he could have competed for either one. What went into that decision, and are you guys thrilled that he competes for Sweden?
And also, did the US get quite annoyed that you didn't
Yes.
let him join the US?
I can answer that question.
There's one American that's a bit annoyed.
Yes, we are.
I mean, it started off that his older brother competed in pole vault for Sweden as a junior. And then so when Mondo got to the level when he could be part of the Junior World Championships, they started calling pretty early. Like,
Yeah.
are you going to follow your brother's footsteps?
Yeah.
Are you interested in Sweden? He's like, I don't know. I'm born here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they called for months.
Oh, wow.
And he never really would commit because he really didn't know.
He wasn't sure.
Until they, how about if we make your dad a national coach on the team, he will have credential to go wherever you go, be part of your preparation.
Sweeten the deal.
And Mondo's like,
I like
I
that.
like that. I
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
The head coach
That's
was
pretty much
really-
what made that. They're like, I'll go for Sweden.
America, you could have just offered Dad Greg credentials for a lifetime. We would have had Mondo Duplantis. Somebody should be fired.
You have blown it. US track and field has blown it, I was going to say. But onto a note of, again, the pressures that Mondo's obviously under, and coming into his defending champion, all eyes are on. He is literally one of the faces of athletics, if not probably the most reliable, biggest face at the moment.
True.
How do you guys deal with that pressure? Because look, I have 3 young children. You've got 2 young children. And my eldest is 9. He plays football, plays cricket, all these different sports. And he's playing, I'm like bag of nerves watching him just play local sports at the moment. Like, he's literally out there. Like, how do you deal with it? And how does he deal with it in that way?
I mean, I guess that's another one of his strengths, I think, that he can actually deal with it and just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Turn it off when he has to turn it off, and
he's always been extremely competitive and seems to, they have some that thrive on pressure and some that crack under pressure, and he thrives under pressure.
Yeah.
He loves like the big crowd.
The big moments.
He likes the big crowd around him. The big like loud stadium. He loves that. Now us, I think we're more typical parents, really. Yeah. I mean, like you guys, like us, you understand sports, and so you're not unrealistic and crazy about it like some people are. Some people are very unrealistic about what they expect from their children. But I think we've been very realistic about all of our children, what we want from them, expect from them, and just to try hard, work hard.
Yeah.
But he was very nervous. His first World Championship in London.
Yeah.
I had never seen him like that. He couldn't sleep. I mean, like.
So he is human.
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, of course,
that's been confirmed.
And he was very disappointed. He didn't jump good. I mean, he took like 15 jumps in the qualifying, and like, I mean. I had never seen him that nervous.
Yeah.
That was the most nervous I've ever seen him.
Then he kind of got that.
And then he learned from that.
Yeah.
And what I'll say about him when I watch him, because I've now been a commentator and getting to like not just watch performances, but see people's faces when they zoom in through the camera. It feels to me like he absorbs the pressure when some athletes seem to wear it on their shoulders and it weighs them down. With him, it's just like, I don't care. It's like you said, the bigger the moment, the bigger the crowd is, the more, it's like, it's superpower. He gets bigger, he gets taller, and it's really fun to watch him compete. And we're super excited for you guys and to, see what he's going to do here. But before you go, we got to ask you guys to join us for Predict the
podium. So I was properly into
my
what you were saying this time.
falls asleep every time. We have just a few lines that we say together. We do this podcast every day, and I look at him, set him up, and he still misses it.
Predict the podium.
I don't know how he hit the board when he was competing. I don't know how he was.
Actually, I was really consistent at that. That's something I was actually quite good at.
Predict
the podium. I'm just going to keep shouting now and pretend that you're missing it. Predict the podium. Are you guys ready?
Ooh. So we're going to ask you guys to give us 1, 2, 3, and we're going to make it easy, right? We're going to make it in the event that you guys know. We already know the number 1 spot. So we're asking you guys to give us who you think will be silver and bronze in the men's pole vaults. Do you guys have predictions?
I like the idea of, really quickly this, you're just like, doesn't matter. Just because it's Mondo, just doesn't matter. I'd love that just to be, it's Mondo, doesn't matter.
Of course that's all we're really concerned about. But I mean,
I have 3 that I think.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear.
I can't put them in silver and bronze.
It doesn't matter, you just for now.
I think Kendricks, Corrales, and Curtis Marshall. Oh, I forgot Obiano.
Kat would be good as well, it'd be nice for Kat.
Yeah, it's kind of, who you want to be there and who you expect to be there.
Yeah.
And then it depends too. Like, is it going to start raining all of a sudden like last night? That can change the game totally in pole.
Yeah.
I think the most reliable person to jump 590 is Sam Kendricks.
Sam Kendricks. That's my silver medal spot. Yeah. But who should we put in the 3rd spot?
But I think that for instance, who can jump 6 meters? I think Obana, Corrales, even Curtis Marshall have a better chance, I think, of jumping 6 meters than Sam. And so if they get hot,
right.
But Sam's going to jump 590 plus.
Yeah.
Right.
Just he will every time. And the 3rd or 2nd, whatever, how it works out.
We'll see.
Is going to be, it's going to be very tight. I think that the hottest pole vaulter right now is Emmanuel Corrales.
Yeah.
From Greece. He's had, 3 PRs this year.
Yeah.
And he just seems to be on a really good track. And so, I'd have to say he'll likely to be in there.
Right.
So we're going to go with Mondo, possibly Kendricks, and Emmanuel. Those are going to be our top 3.
That's
maybe
my picks.
Curtis, maybe somebody else will say.
Are you guys gonna opine on this?
No, we
leave it up to you guys.
We just want the experts to tell us.
Exactly.
We're going to steal your picks.
And then we'll put a little bet on somewhere. That's what I say. But quickly mentioning you just obviously talked about heights and everything else. One thing I think people are probably going to want to hear, and this is obviously to put no pressure or anything else at all, but is Mondo then, rather than what you're expecting, is he looking to maybe try and break the world record again while he's here?
Yes.
I love that you said it like that. Mondo is going for the world record again, and it's undeniable.
Well, I feel like that's an obvious. I know people are probably going to go, well, of course he is, but
you never know.
Again,
you never know.
Behind the scenes, we don't know what's going on.
We had a little prayer session with another high jumper in Sweden.
I love that.
And then she was just praying, and all of a sudden she said, and just when Mondo is jumping at the world record height, just give him peace and strength. And we were like, I like that.
Yeah, and give him wings. Yeah.
I can't pronounce her name.
She's Australian lady.
It's a tongue twister.
The Australian pole vaulter?
No,
high
high
jump.
jumper.
She trains in Sweden.
Yes, of course,
okay,
yeah.
We met her
okay,
at
okay.
the indoor track. Yeah,
That's awesome.
she was already there. Like, and when Mondo jumps at the world record height, so
Yeah.
So
it's already done.
Peace and calm. Peace and calm for
Which
Mondo.
I
Peace
like.
and calm,
I mean,
mate.
I think that, you know, and I don't think it's a overconfident thing. Is, you know, for instance, myself, if I'd have won the gold medal in the Olympics, I don't think I could even walk after that. But he's looking past it. He wants more than that. He doesn't just want to win the gold. He wants to do more. I think that's a good confidence to have, really.
Yeah.
I do just want to mention as well, spending many a nights with pole vaulters as I trained with pole vaulters, many don't walk after they've won Olympic gold medals.
No.
Because they are,
Back to
if you want to hang
Mondo.
out with fun people, hang out with pole vaulters. They are
Absolutely.
very good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for
guys.
joining
Thanks for
us. And we're
inviting
wishing
us.
you guys all the best. We're excited to see what Mondo will do. Mr. and Mrs. Duplantis. All right, well, they were delightful, Mr. and Mrs. Duplantis. I really enjoyed that conversation. You kind of see where he gets it from, not just like on the track and field, but also just their personal story was very interesting.
Absolutely.
So that was fun.
Yeah, big fan of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
really
me
enjoyed
too.
it.
Yeah. All right, are you ready for?
Ask me anything.
All right, I love it. I made you lead on that one because every now and then I got to build your confidence that you got big star
appreciate
energy.
this.
Yes, I let
You're
you lead that
working
one.
on this. Nice. It's
Working on
nice.
you. All right, so do you have your questions up?
I do. Do you? Do you want to go
I
first?
do. Yeah, I can go first.
Yeah, go on, go for
All
it.
right, so Camille.loves asks us, she says, what was your go-to cheat meal when you were competing?
Oh, good question. Now, I have two views on a cheat meal. I think you should just be able to enjoy food as you wish to enjoy food.
okay.
So
Well,
maybe
there's
calling
a
it a cheat
theory.
meal.
Okay.
You shouldn't always call it a cheat meal. But equally, I'll let you answer first. I've instantly just gone to a service station outside of Birmingham after national trials every year where I'd have something, but I'll let you go first.
Well, I think of a cheat meal, right, as like something you eat like once a week. That's like your guilty pleasure. So I would have a cheat meal. So like I would be training and I was very strict on my diet. And like on Saturdays or Sundays, I would have a cheat meal, not a cheat day, but a cheat meal. And so my go-tos were either cheese pizza, which I love cheese pizza so much.
Oh, hang on though. Wait. And this is important. Would you have a thin crust cheese pizza? Or would you go for a bit of an American deep dish?
So if it was my choice, go-to, I love a thin crust
Oh,
pizza.
thank goodness.
But that's
We
like
can
the best are
continue.
like in New York and stuff. But a lot of times when you're like, having to get like the traditional like big box stores, they're more, it's hard to find a good thin crust. But that's my go-to favorite. But I love that. I love cheese pizza. So cheese pizza, ice cream, like vanilla ice cream, purple Skittles. Only the purple bag. Don't bring me the other bags. I need that purple bag.
I don't think
This is
we
my
get
Mariah
just
Carey.
purple in... That's a rider, isn't it?
That's my rider. Yeah,
Is that your rider? You literally have a...
I know.
Sonny's a rider.
I know. If I did though, it would be, but not just.
I wondered what those things over there were.
One time I had a rider, right, and I put purple Skittles, and I meant the purple bag. They literally picked out just the purple.
And you know the problem
And I was
with
like,
that
I'm
is
not that much of a
some
diva.
poor runner, right?
I know.
Had somebody higher up shout at them,
Yeah.
Sonia has to have purple! That is literally it. And they've gone,
Oh God! They took them and separated them. Can you imagine that? Funny stories on the journey, but anyway, yeah. So those are my kind of go-tos. What were yours?
Okay. Wow, purple Skittles. It's really specific.
The purple bag, though, not just the purple one.
Yeah, you say that now, just on that poor runner.
Poor girl.
So after the trials, national trials, which are generally held in Birmingham in the UK, I would then stop off at a service station just down the road from it, and I'd always get an XL bacon double cheeseburger from Burger King.
Really?
And actually, that was look at the disgust in your face. Now look, I very much like food, right?
Yeah.
So I love to cook. Just
Oh.
throwing it out there. I won MasterChef. Just so you know.
Wait, you won MasterChef?
Yeah, I won MasterChef. Just throwing it out
Were
there.
you the only one on there? Keeping you humble, my friend. Keeping you humble. Get back in the chair. I want to hear more about this MasterChef chef stuff that you're making up.
No, we weren't. No. So I know. So I appreciate Burger King is maybe like a bit down there.
Yeah.
But there was something about, and it's better than any other fast food burger in the UK anyway.
Yeah,
in
no,
the UK.
so here's my thing. To me, that's not considered a cheat meal, though. If you only did it like once in a blue moon,
No,
like,
no,
you have
I
to
did
have
it more.
What was
I-
your?
I did it more.
Okay, so it counts. It counts. All right, that's it. It counts.
That would be if I was like you know what, really just go to something quickly. Because other things, like we've got like Nando's in the UK. Have you ever come across Nando's?
No, but I feel like I've
So
heard
a lot of
them.
the US athletes, when they would come over, I would always be taking them off to Nando's because it's just a good place. But I don't really consider that a cheat meal.
Okay.
It's slightly healthier.
Okay.
So there's a lot of that.
But did you like ice cream and pizza, or like what else did you like?
I like food.
Okay. Okay.
Like,
got it. Yeah.
This is why I have to keep training.
Okay.
I like.
You're a foodie.
I eat.
Okay. Yeah.
I can
See,
eat.
I eat to live. I don't live to eat. So I could have the same thing. I could have a salad almost every day if I had to.
I once beat my friend in a 1 kilo rib eating competition while on a warm weather training camp.
All right, let's move on before we all get fat here listening to this. What's your question?
Right, so this is from Stephen J. Murr 3. How far does Greg think he'd have jumped in a pair of carbon-plated shoes?
Oh, I like this question.
This is a good one. Right, so
I like this question.
the new tech, it looks so good.
It doesn't just look good.
I mean,
it's doing good.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
And there's like little bits of me. I'm like, I retired just before that came in. How good would that be? And some of the things I've heard out of certain training groups, my coach Dan has been in, I say still my coach.
Yeah, I call him my coach too.
Yeah, thank you. We're allowed to do it. He said he's been talking to different groups around the world that have been like trialing it. There's some improvements that can come from these spikes. Like
massive.
Good Lord, it's incredible. So,
Massive.
I mean, I don't want to put a number on it, but I've been told they could be beneficial up to 20 to 30 centimeters in jumps.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's listen, I'll put a number on mine. I'd have ran 47. It's just no doubt in my mind. I'd have run 47.
Without question. Yeah. Without question.
And it's crazy because I hadn't talked to a lot of athletes who've actually worn them. And so we're talking about the new technology in the spikes that when you're a sprinter, what you're doing is you're trying to get as much back from the track as possible, right? And so in the past, the spikes that we had gave nothing, right? This was all just your own physical power, being able to stay on your toes and push forward. Now with the spring and the spike, like they're getting so much back. It's like literally propelling them down the track. I wasn't such a big believer until I've like actually talked to the athletes. And this one young girl was like, telling me about it. She's like, oh my gosh, like she went from like 53 to like 49 low in these spikes. I'm like, you went from what? 40, you know what I mean? And she's
It's
like,
insane,
she's like,
isn't it?
you ran 48 without these spikes. I'm like, girl, I ran 48 damn near in socks, barefoot. Okay. So yeah, so I often think about like what I would have run had I had the technology, but I'm also a big fan of it. Like I'm a big fan of sports getting better. I'm a big fan of athletes being able to take advantage of good technology,
Absolutely.
as long as it's accessible to everyone.
Exactly
As long
that.
as it's a fair, fair playing field.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely why we're seeing a lot of these records being broken, a lot of fast times.
So I'm definitely throwing it out there. I'd currently be the long jump world record holder.
And the 400 meter world record holder too. Where are our checks? All right. Well, that's all we have. Another good one. I hate I missed a little bit of it, but I'm happy that I was able to get most of it. And it's been really fun. I'm enjoying myself. You?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, I've had a really good time. And again, for anybody listening to the podcast or watching it on YouTube, of course, you can go to the World Athletics website, worldathletics.org /. I'm creating a new website.
That's all those Burger King burgers.
Yeah, I know.
Going right to your
I
head.
need one today. I haven't eaten it today. /inside track. And you can get more of these incredible podcasts if you've managed to just get over my / thing that I just did there.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun. We've had great guests already, and we're going to guarantee you more good guests to come. So stay tuned. Listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast. We'll see you next time.
Out of interest, if I have any more pet rats, can I name one Sanya?
Absolutely not.